Episode 1, Turnabout Visitor. Sweet. Kinda want to raise my volume, but maybe just a little bit? Pause. Just for a sec. Hopefully that's good. I don't want to raise it too high, but... Can you see? Can you see? Yeah, you can see. It's just my screen's frozen. 1 second. I hate that it does that. Thank you. Okay, perfect. I got it now. Sorry about that. Perfect. So, to make sure the defendant is found guilty, what other choice do I have? That's the job of a prosecutor, after all. That may be true, but why? Why go this far? Sorry, maybe I wasn't clear enough. But a guilty verdict is all that matters to me. No matter what the cost. Ooh. I'm a prodigy among prosecutors. Always have been, always will be. Mouth fapping! Wow, so lewd. Here we are. So, March 14th, 2:05 a.m., Prosecutors Building, 12th floor hallway. Mouth fapping. It's hard to believe that I've been away from my office for a whole month. I hope Detective Gumshoe has been keeping an eye on my office and keeping it clean. The door's unlocked. Detective Gumshoe? What's this smell? It's very familiar. Blood? The game's kind of loud? Okay, fixing... or maybe make me a bit louder. Make game a bit quieter. Hopefully that's better. I don't know. What the... What's the meaning of this? Freeze! I said that really terribly. Freeze! It was like half serious, half not serious. Freeze, maybe? Can you possibly freeze? Identify yourself. Shut up. You've got some nerve committing murder in a prosecutor's office. Is that a threat? Let me make one thing very clear. What? No one gets away with committing murder in my office. No one. Slowly backs away. My name is Miles Edgeworth, and I work as a prosecutor in my local district. Little did I know that upon my return home after a month abroad, I would be thrust into a multitude of cases in some very frantic and busy days. I finished photographing the victim's body, sir. Very well. Please continue your investigation. Yes, sir! His steel samurai figure. Yes, Edgeworth. Ah! Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Are you okay, sir? Keep it down, detective. This is a crime scene. When I heard that a murder had taken place in your office, I ran up here straight away. This is Dick Gumshoe. He's a detective with the local precinct, and the one they assigned to handle this murder case for the time being. You're looking a little pale, sir. Are you hurt? No, I'm perfectly fine. However... Yeah, I was gonna say they have different sprites and stuff now. Ah, look what they did to your office! It's totally trashed! I'll say, the culprit sullied my floor with dirt rather well. No one gets away with tracking mud into my office. Whoa, sounds like you're getting really burned up over this whole thing. This crime was committed in my office, so it is my responsibility to solve it. Oh, that's just like you, Mr. Edgeworth. Okay, time to do some investigating. Agreed. Our first course of action is to gather relevant facts and leads. We must not overlook anything, no matter how small, if we are to find the truth. So I'll keep any leads or information we find etched in the forefront of my mind. Speaking of things that pique my curiosity, why of all places did the murder occur in my office?
So we got crime scene, my office. You're gonna see these pop up. I don't know if I'm always gonna read them, but I'll see how it goes. Is it really coincidence that the murder took place in my office? That goes into our logic folder. Or head folder.
I get the nagging feeling that this is something important to keep in mind. Yeah, I was wondering that myself, sir. I mean, you can't really say it's just a coincidence, can you? No, not really. Especially because of this. The key to your office?
For security reasons, this office's door has a lock built into it.
What do you mean, sir? If you think about it carefully and use logic, it should become clear to you. Logic?
Of course Gumshoe doesn't know what that is. Oh my gosh, no.
By finding the connection between two pieces of information, and connecting them, new information is born.
So this is a new gameplay element you're going to learn about?
That is the end result of using logic. So how do you use it? First, I recall information through the logic button and then connect them together.
The logic button? What was that, Edgeworth?
Now to touch the logic button and recall the facts.
So here we go. Connect my thoughts. So crime scene in my office and the office key. Connect. Ta-da!
For security reasons, all prosecutors' doors are outfitted with locks. Which means it would have been hard for the murderer and the victim to get in here. Ergo, it's impossible to dismiss the location of the crime as mere coincidence. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, sir. There must be a reason why someone infiltrated my room. What was the killer after?
Why did this happen in my office? What was the killer after? Hey, Demon!
You're really on the ball today, Mr. Edgeworth. That's some beautiful logic, sir. Yes, well, when you follow leads to their conclusion, only the truth remains. However, if the information doesn't line up properly, I may stray far from the truth as well. But if I think carefully before piecing leads together, the logic should flow. The spice should flow.
Sorry, 1 second.
Well, let's get started with our investigation, shall we? Yes, sir!
Begin investigation. So, here's another new part.
The basis of any good investigation is to examine everything, sir. I know that, and when I want to examine something, I simply touch the examine button. Oh, if you ever feel lost and want to talk, just touch the partner button, okay? I'll give you great precise advice as an ace investigator, sir. Something to try later if I have free time, I suppose.
So just for fun, we're gonna click the partner button now.
You called, sir?
Notice anything?
Is there anything you noticed that you'd like to share, Detective Gumshoe? Just that I rushed over here as soon as I heard there was a murder in your office, sir. The investigation's just gotten started, so I guess there's not much else to say. So, were you the one that found the body, Mr. Edgeworth? Unfortunately, upon my return, I found my office door to be unlocked. And what awaited me inside was this whole messy affair. Ouch, that's rough. Even though I left the security of this room to a certain detective. Sorry, sir. I assume you understand how to conduct investigations, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, sir! Examine things by tapping them or by touching the examine button. By checking various things out, we gather evidence and information. You can see the evidence we've collected by touching the organizer button. For information and leads, it's the logic button. That's it! Great job, sir! Deductive reasonable is the way to go. It's called deductive reasoning, Detective. Clearly something you lack.
Okay, so that's all we can do with partner right now. But here's the real kicker. Look at this. You can move around. Not as exciting to those that know already, but to those that don't, look at that. It's going to be kind of weird to control, but... I know, it always feels weird. It kind of takes you out of it when you read the tutorial.
What have we here? Could this perhaps be the murder weapon? If so, it would mean that the killer made their escape after disposing of their gun here. I think I've seen one of these before. Care to enlighten me as to where? Oh, I know! I was issued the exact same model. I think. Detective... I don't really like guns all that much. I mean, they're really dangerous. But now that I think about it, you do see this model around the precinct a lot, sir. I don't use mine much, except in emergencies, so that's why I didn't recognize it. So it's the same type of revolver as the ones used by the precinct's detectives.
Found at the crime scene, it's the same model as those used by precinct detectives. You weren't? Surprise! That's what I mean. I know not a lot of people will be excited about new gameplay elements, but I figured you would. Because you're pretty passionate about this series so far, so I did want to show, you know, look at that, look how different things are. Now we're going to walk over to the dead body and examine it.
They finished photographing the body, so it should be alright to examine this area. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny.
So I think first, we're going to examine this.
What do we have here? Hey, I think I've seen one of these before. It's a police badge, Detective. Oh hey! I have the exact same thing, actually! What a coinkydink! Let's take a look inside. Mr. Buddy Faith. It would appear that our victim was a detective just like you.
According to his badge and ID, Buddy Faith was a precinct detective. What a name, Buddy Faith.
I seem to have gathered a few pieces of precinct information. Sorry, pertinent, not precinct. I don't know why I read that. Pertinent information.
Hey, Mock. Hey, Zach.
Now to calmly use some logic and figure out if any of them are connected to each other.
Yeah, let Ab make his theories. He has no idea what's going on in the game, so I don't mind people making theories if they haven't seen the game before. If I know for a fact you haven't, played the game before, which I know Ab hasn't. He was introduced to the series because of me, so... So now let's examine the body. Sorry.
Let's see here. There's blood all over his lower abdominal area. Looks like the bullet passed clean through his stomach area, sir. In other words, he was shot. Yup, and until the autopsy's done, I don't think we'll know much more than that. Please have the body sent to the morgue once they're done processing the crime scene.
All his notes and stuff look so tidy.
Are you going to be okay with keeping track of the evidence we find, sir? Of course, this is the safest way I know to keep track of it all. Alright, if you say so. I just read that really weird. I keep all the evidence I find, either in or with my organizer. When I want to re-examine a piece, I have but to touch the organizer button. But the organizer isn't only for evidence. I keep people's profiles on hand in it too. It's probably a good idea to make a habit of checking the facts often.
Okay, so now that we've examined... Sorry.
Your files are all over the floor. Your files are all over the floor, sir. They probably fell during the struggle between the victim and his killer.
My files are a mess, pointing to a struggle between the victim and the killer.
Oh, yo? Aw, and I tried so hard to keep this place spotless while you were away. I mean, this just rendered all the time and effort I put in pointless. I don't recall ever asking you to clean my room. Well, I watered the flowers every day just like you requested, sir. I just added cleaning to the list as a weekend special. For about half a day every Saturday, I'd come in and clean this place until it sparkled. Does he have a life?
Edgeworth, he's doing you a favor. Be nice. Jeez. Okay, so we're gonna connect some stuff now. Actually, I'm gonna save really quick because I haven't saved as of yet. Let's connect some stuff. So we're gonna go with revolver. And this one.
The revolver, the standard model used by detectives. Could it have belonged to our recently departed? Detective Gumshoe, could you please thoroughly check the victim's body one more time? Yes, sir! On it now, sir! Excuse me, pal.
Excuse me, pal.
Let's see. What have we got here? Mr. Edgeworth, sir! This guy's wearing a gun holster! So it appears that our killer somehow managed to take the victim's gun from him.
Nice. What was pretty cool? The logic bit? The new gameplay elements are pretty awesome.
Let's see what else we can find out about this revolver. As I always say, you've got to look really carefully at each piece of evidence. You can use the scroll wheels to rotate an object. There's no such thing as a bad angle. Use the slide bar or the X and Y arrows to zoom in and out to get at the nitty-gritty.
I mean, I'm probably going to want to check the barrel itself, I'm guessing, to see how many rounds and stuff. Aha!
Looks like only one round was fired from this. Wow, so the killer killed the Vic with just one shot after wresting the gun from him? Sounds like the guy knew how to handle a gun, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? We have no proof for now, but that is a distinct possibility.
Whoa, lots of things happening.
I guess this is about all we're going to find out. We should send the body to Jim! Why, oh why? How could this have happened to a guy like you? Are you alright? Don't touch me! Leave me alone! Just let me be! Sorry, but I can't do that. The investigation is still ongoing, so please refrain from touching the body. The body? The body? Don't talk about him like he's just a lump of flesh! Look at him. Jim looks like he's just turned in for the night. Sure, just in a bloodstained suit, pal. Where are my manners? Aren't you that prosecutor? Why, yes I am! I'm Jacques Portsman, prosecutor. Jim here was my partner in crime busting. I'm Miles Edgeworth, and like you, I am also a prosecutor. Detective Dick Gumshoe, sir. So you're Miles Edgeworth. I guess this is your office. Yes, that is correct. Then it was you! You're the one who killed Jim! Hey, don't go around jumping to conclusions, pal. Just calm down, okay? I will not! I know how things work around here. High prosecutor's office doors all have locks built into them. And only the owner of the office has the key to his or her own office door. That is correct. However, I was not the one who killed your partner. Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth has been overseas on a business trip this whole time, pal. And the key to the door was with me the entire time, okay? So the only one who could get in here was me. Wait, that means... I'm not sure what that means. So it was you, then! You're Jim's killer! No way, pal! You got it all wrong! Everyone, calm down! Mr. Portsman, correct? If you're a real prosecutor, you should know to stay collected. The investigation has only just begun. Isn't it too early to be drawing conclusions? Alright, I get the point. You're right, my mistake. I tend to get a little too hot-headed sometimes. You sure are one cool customer, though, Mr. Edgeworth. I've heard all the rumors about you. You're the great genius prosecutor. You're something of a legend, you know. Anyway, let's call a truce and work together, okay? Now how about a handshake to seal the deal? A pleasure to work with you. You guys were conducting your own investigation, right? Sorry for barging in like that. Carry on then. It's your room after all. Thank you. I intend to. I just want a little more time to say goodbye to Jim. You there! Sir! I want you to capture this scene on film for me. My final farewell to my partner, Jim. Wow. I should probably give them some space. Wow. Oops.
Sorry.
Ah, your jacket, sir! What's it doing on the floor? It must have fallen off the wall when the killer tried to threaten me by firing a round. So the killer not only shot the victim, but they shot your jacket as well? They dared to shoot the ultra-special jacket that you made your prosecutorial debut in? What if they had shot through it? It would have been a disaster! It's not worth getting worked up over, Detective. Not when there's something more here. Huh? Like what? I take it you haven't noticed it yet, Detective. There's a giant contradiction right here in front of us. Really? Did I say contradiction? He must be rubbing off on me. I'm starting to sound like him. But I have my own methods, and I'll conduct this investigation my way. When the scene before me contradicts a piece of evidence or seems off, that's when my deductive skills come into play. First, I have to find the spot that holds the contradiction.
Not cool. You don't shoot people's jackets. True.
This is it. The bullet hole is where the contradiction lies. When I spot something that's off, I should touch the deduce button with conviction. And when I found sufficient proof to prove the contradiction, I present it. This is how I do things.
Well, if there was only one bullet fired...
This bullet hole is the contradiction. What do you mean, sir?
Hey, Alter!
It's elementary. 2 shots were fired in this room. The first felled the victim. And the second felled this frame. Hey, that's right! However, this gun was only fired once. Hey, that's true too! Which means that one of these 2 bullets was fired from a different gun. Did the killer have another gun prepared for tonight?
Other than the victim's gun that I found, could there be another gun in play here?
By the way, I noticed something, sir. Yes? What's that thing sticking out from behind the frame? Ah, that. It's a secret safe. A secret safe? Oh, I smell money! I'll spare us the trouble and just say it. Nothing like what you're imagining is inside. Now, if you could kindly move this frame out of the way. Roger that! Copy that. Achoo! Achoo! Talk about dusty! I suppose that's what happens when I'm not here to dust it once in a while. I had no idea there was a oops, nope, it's Gumshoe. I had no idea there was a safe here, or I'd have kept it clean for you, sir. Derp, derp, derp.
I love how I was saying that in Edward's voice,
So it's like I had no idea that I had my own safe in this office.
Hey, Mari! You just missed the beginning parts of the case. We're still very early on, so I think you can still catch up. Welcome! And Flames, hi! Hello, everyone. New mechanics and a little bit of investigating.
So, when did you put this thing in? It wasn't something I had installed personally. Every prosecutor's office has one. Really? I had no idea. Well, only prosecutors are supposed to have knowledge of their existence. So, what's inside, Mr. Edgeworth? Right now, nothing. We only use them to store especially important evidence when a trial is in session. That's it? Talk about squashing my hopes and dreams.
Nice.
I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Now this is odd. You found something, sir? This keypad. Don't you find it to be a bit too clean? Yeah, there's a thick layer of dust all around it, but not on the keypad itself. You there, the forensic scientist. Yes, sir! Could you please dust this area for fingerprints? You got it, sir! I couldn't find, let alone lift, a single print. Looks like it was wiped down well.
All of the fingerprints on this have been wiped clean off. Hello!
As I thought. It appears that logic is the only way around this setback. Time to rationally and calmly connect the dots with the information we have.
Let's go into logic. So, the killer's goal. Wiped fingerprints.
I believe I figured out what the murderer was after. Well, what is it, sir? The fact that the safe was wiped clean of fingerprints suggests that the criminal had at least attempted to open my safe, making the culprit's motive for breaking and entering theft, I believe.
The culprit tried to open my safe. Was the killer's motive theft?
I wonder if knowing that the motive behind this break-in was theft changes what the other pieces of information can tell me about the crime.
So, signs of struggle and motive theft. I might have to change the Edgeworth voice a bit if my throat starts hurting a little bit. I know it doesn't sound that low, but to me it's a bit low, so for me to do.
There's a possibility that the files splayed on the floor are not the result of a struggle between the victim and his killer. Oh, you mean like it could be from when the killer tried to find something, sir? Precisely. We need to figure out if any of the files have been stolen. Yes, sir! I'm gonna shelf files like you've never seen before, even at a library! Sure. Let's give that a try. Why do all the good ones always die young? Surely you must ponder that every once in a while, Mr. Edgeworth. No matter how much we lament, the dead will not come back to life. All we can do is search for the truth.
Just because when he was a side character, it wasn't a problem to voice him, but now that he's a main character, that's a lot of reading as him, so it can be kind of rough to read all those lines as him. He's main character now, so it's, yeah. What, Murdered Soul Suspect? I played it. Wah, wah.
And? So what are we supposed to do? How do we go about finding the truth? First, we calmly restore the files to their rightful place. You got it! Here, let me help! So this file goes here, and that book goes there.
Hey, Kurt.
You sure know a lot about where things go, despite it being Mr. Edgeworth's office. Because I'm the one who keeps it tidy, pal. Okay, done.
I think I'm the same way, Mock. I think I beat it in one day as well.
It would appear that the murder was definitely committed here. Ugh, the bloodstains on the bookshelf are still fresh. I suspect that the victim was killed in a standing position, hence the prints on the shelf. And then the guy fell onto the floor, right? The blood on the floor is kind of grossing me out. Detective, I don't have the time to deal with your weak stomach right now. Oh, but you know I'm no good with blood, sir. I'm certain there's something wrong with this picture. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold?
Oh, for what, Flames?
There is clearly a contradiction here with this bullet hole. What do you mean, sir? You don't see? Quite simply, the bullet hole itself is too low.
Oh, nice, Flames!
If the victim was shot in the stomach, the hole should be much higher up. But what if the guy was shot while he was sitting or lying down, sir? That would be illogical. The victim leaned against this shelf here after being shot, which suggests that he was standing when he was shot. Then that means... Wait, what does that mean, sir? It means you need to use your brain every once in a while instead of mind, detective. In any case, it means someone made a faulty assumption, and it was from this mistake that our current contradiction was born. What is the faulty assumption that caused this problem with the bullet hole's position? I believe the order of the files is a bit off.
Hey, Val!
You mean I put them back in the wrong order just now? Hey, actually, I think the labels on the files are wrong, sir. Oh? Yeah, you see here how the files that were shot begin with the number 0? What are those doing all the way down there after 1, 2, and 3? That's really weird. Actually, the way they are organized now is the correct order. They're exactly as I see them in my mind's eye. But the numbers are all out of order. Those white binders are special, so they're arranged a little differently. But from this, we know that the files were not in this order when the crime scene occurred. Aha, so that's it! I believe the killer made the same incorrect assumption as you just did, Detective. Let's rearrange the files in numerical order and see what we find out. Do you think it'd be okay to prop the body back up how it was before it was moved? They finished processing the crime scene, so I don't see why it wouldn't be. If you please, Detective Gumshoe. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. The killer went through my files first before shooting Mr. Faith, and then put the files back in numerical order, I guess. Exactly, and then proceeded to shoot the victim. I think I read Gumshoe's line as Edgeworth because he's agreeing with himself. But why would someone kill a man and then look through your files one more time? Puzzling indeed. The files were thrown into disarray twice, once before and once after the crime, but why?
The culprit rearranged my files twice, once before and once after the murder. Why?
Now the crime scene is as it was at the time of the murder. Time to give it another look. Sorry. This... What is that? Why does it say Gumshoe on there in blood? I'd say it's some incredibly incriminating evidence. Yes, indicative of criminal activity indeed. No, wait! There's gotta be some mistake! Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me! Say something, sir! It appears that one of my files was stolen. Is that all, sir? What about me and my situation? Is this what the killer was really after?
Nice.
Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end. And this most important message managed to reach us. I'm telling you, it wasn't me! You can't be terribly pleased to hear that your beloved partner is the guilty party. If you're going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up.
R.I.P. Jim Pico.
Jim's words. They're more than enough, wouldn't you say? If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning. You got it!
You got it, dude.
I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude. And there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out. Mr. Hedgeworth, what are you gonna do? What I always do in court. I'm going to cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose the flaw in his logic with this technique. Ooh, how do you do that? Can you explain it to me, sir?
We know how this works, so...
Mr. Portsman, if you're ready... Aw, if you don't have time, you could just say so, sir.
We know how this works.
Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Further, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead.
I already found the contradiction.
That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. And it'll be by his final words that you'll be brought to justice.
But, like, why would he steal his gun if every detective has that gun?
You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer? I can hear Jim's voice, and he's calling for his killer's arrest. Are you sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portsman? There's no way Detective Gumshoe's the culprit here. I'll find the flaw in this man's logic, and expose it with credible evidence.
But we'll go with it for now.
Perhaps you're not aware, Mr. Portsman, but there's a serious flaw in your logic. Brings a bit of the courtroom into this, I see. Sorry, bringing. No problem, I'm game. I can't help but find it odd. Excuse me? Odd that a fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office. What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking. I get it. If you have time to laugh, then you have the time to take another closer look at this. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file? What? That's impossible! What's impossible, Mr. Portsman? Nothing. The files on that shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines.
Objection!
It's possible that they could have taken the file before committing the murder. I think it's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name where the file should be is proof. Yeah, I mean the S is gone and there's only half an H. If Detective Gumshoe really was the culprit of this case, I highly doubt that even he could overlook his own name written in blood on the files. Especially as a detective who can't stand the sight of blood.
Nice face.
Which means... What exactly? What does that make this dying message? It makes it the work of a criminal intent on tampering with a crime scene. That's so low! I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, sir! I'm gonna get him, sir! You'll see! I'm gonna have them under arrest in no time! Well, Mr. Portsman? Brilliant! Absolutely splendid! Logic deserving of Olympic gold. I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed.
Hello.
Meh, you win some and you lose some. That's how life goes. Glad everyone's so cheery, even though I feel more dead than alive. Ah, but you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up, however. What is it this time? Are you still after me, pal? Humor me for a second. Who has the key to this office? That would be me. But Mr. Edgeworth just proved that I'm innocent, pal. That's absolutely right, and I acknowledge your innocence. Then why do I sense that you still have something to say? Well, I was thinking, did you know there is one other person with a key to this office? One other person. Hey, you there! Yes, sir! What is it, sir? Would you kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady here for me? A lady? The girl is a member of this building's security. Think of her as a material witness. Security? Did you say security? No, stop it, pal! Don't! What's wrong with him all of a sudden? I think... oh. I believe she needs no introduction. I have called upon Miss Maggie Bird, a member of security.
Detective Gumshoe, sir.
Maggie! Miss Bird is the security guard on watch tonight. I see. And your point is? My point is that she could very well have used it. And by it, I mean the master key, which can open all the office doors in this building. What? If you're not the guilty party, Detective Gumshoe, then the only other person with access to this room is Miss Bird.
How dare you! I would never sneak into someone's room!
That's right! I refuse to believe that Maggie's the culprit, pal. It was me! That's right, I did it! Can we take that as a confession, Detective? Well, it wasn't really me, but it definitely wasn't Maggie, pal. So, yeah, it was me! If it was, you'd have no problems with that, right? Please refrain from flying off the handle, Detective. There's no need for such theatrics. Listen to your boss, Detective. He understands what I'm saying here. That girl is the only one who could have committed the crime, and for one simple reason. It's pretty obvious that Miss Bird snuck into your room using the master key. I mean, if Detective Gumshoe isn't the one who opened the door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. On top of which, she knows our good detective, doesn't she? Making it all that more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. So you're saying she used the master key. Incredibly incriminating evidence, wouldn't you say? That's what you claimed about the evidence earlier as well. That was then, this is now. The flow of a good match always changes during a rally. It's all about your reflexes and reaction time, especially for an athlete like me. I wonder if there was anyone else other than Miss Bird who could have used the master key. It seems that the only way to get Mr. Portsman to give me more details is to press him.
Hold it!
Are you sure Miss Bird is the only member of security who could have used the master key? There's only one person on staff at this time of night, and tonight, she's it. Isn't that right, Miss Bird?
That's, true, but I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir!
Wasn't able to? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, moving on. I'd hate to get sidetracked by something unrelated. What do you mean, unrelated? I want to hear what she has to say, pal! But you can't really trust her not to tell lies. Plus, I hate wasting time. Should I hear Miss Bird out? Not so fast. I, too, am interested in hearing what Miss Bird has to say. Didn't I just say it'd be a waste of time? We don't need to hear her lies. I'll be the judge of that. Miss Bird, if you please.
I discovered that the master key was missing at around 1 a.m., sir.
What do you mean by missing?
As in, it wasn't anywhere in the security booth, sir. The killer must have stolen it.
Mr. Portsman, I believe this to be an important piece of testimony, don't you? I can't believe that someone like you would be taken in by such words.
I'm not lying, sir.
If that's the case, then I'd like to know why you have the master key now. I read that really strangely. I apologize.
I don't quite know. It just reappeared all of a sudden, sir.
A likely story. And where's your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it and then found it again.
I never lose things. I can practically guarantee that. With me, if something disappears, it's usually because someone stole it.
Yeah, pal. Trust me, you don't want to test just how bad her luck is. Unfortunately, I can't deem this piece of testimony as conclusive.
Oh, thank you. What English accent? Just my regular speaking voice? Because I wasn't really doing an English accent. But thanks. Thank you.
Glad you agree, Mr. Edgeworth. But you still haven't established Maggie's motive for breaking into Mr. Edgeworth's office. Her motive? Didn't we already establish that it was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelves and at least tried the safe. It is as Mr. Portsman says, Detective. I can't ignore the fact that all the evidence points towards a motive of theft. But I'm done taking blows. It's time to counterattack with a few facts of my own.
You messed up, Portsman.
Objection!
Do you wish to continue insisting that Miss Bird was set on stealing something? Why not? It's the truth, after all. It was also by your logic that we came to this whole thievery conclusion anyway. That may be, but you must also be aware of the fact that the safe is a secret safe. The existence of which is only privy to prosecutors. Ah! I find it a little hard to believe that a hidden safe was a part of her cunning plan. But she could have found it by accident while she was turning everything else upside down. I highly doubt that. I'd say the culprit knew exactly what they were looking for. After all, only the bookshelf and the safe were targeted. Yeah, even I didn't know about the safe, pal. And that means there's no way Maggie could have known about it either. Then are you proposing that the killer is a prosecutor? Interesting conclusion. That's definitely looking more and more probable. What's wrong, prosecutor? Do you have a different suspect in mind now? Curses! Why? What made you... What's with the angry face all of a sudden? It's all my fault! What do you mean? It's Jim. He knew about the existence of the secret safes. What did you just say? We were partners, like inseparable conjoined twins. That's why I told him. I filled him in on the secret safes. Then that means... Yeah, I know. I had only just told him, too. Obviously, it was wrong of me to tell him. I still can't quite believe it, but the thief who broke into your room was probably Jim. Now he's claiming that the victim was the thief. And you were simply trying to stop him, weren't you, Miss Maggie Bird?
Excuse me?
I mean, you are a security guard, right? That's your job. But killing is going a bit far, even in your risky profession. What the? You're still accusing Maggie of the murder? Yes and no. I mean, she had stumbled upon Jim, who had probably drawn his gun. I get it. It was self-defense, wasn't it?
No! I couldn't... I could never do something like that! Not even as a security guard, sir!
Plus, even if he was the thief, he wouldn't have a key to this office. Which is precisely why he had to steal it, wouldn't you say? It was Jim who stole the master key.
Ah!
pretty impossible for a supposedly stolen key to be here with us, unless you retrieved it from Jim after you killed him. Mr. Portsman, are you honestly accusing your own partner of being a thief? I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way for everything else to make sense. Has he no honor? Now then, I think we're done here. The investigation waits for no man. Would you people be so kind as to see yourselves out? You can't kick us out. This is Mr. Edgeworth's office. Ah, but I'm the one who's been assigned to this case. You're all suspects to varying degrees, and therefore ineligible to run this show. Listen, pal, how many times do I have to say this? Maggie can't be the culprit. Detective Gumshoe, calm yourself. But, sir... We have no choice but to accommodate his request. For now. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. At least one of you understands. Now then, if you could remove yourselves from my crime scene, I'd be most grateful. Mark my words, Mr. Portsman. We will meet again. If that's a formal request from the legendary prosecutor himself, then I suppose so. Now don't disappoint me here.
To be continued. Nice music.
What is with that prosecutor? I can't believe how rude he was. It was unbelievable. Please maintain your professionalism, Detective. I'm gonna find some real solid evidence proving Maggie's innocence. You'll see, sir.
We've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir.
True. So then what now?
Looks like my life's fallen into yet another gigantic ditch.
Do not despair, Miss Bird. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking into anyway. Huh? Really, sir? For example, this hallway. The linchpin of this argument against Miss Bird is related to the master key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information. Regarding the mystery surrounding my door, I just derp.
Okay, so let's investigate. Let's investigate this. Oops, this sofa.
I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny.
Oh? What's this?
It's... Oh! Isn't that the missing Zero Series file, sir? No doubt about it. The bloody letters mark it clear as day. There seem to be a few pages missing. Our thief took only what was necessary and left the rest behind. So what are these Zero files about, sir? I guess they've got something worth stealing in them, huh? Not particularly. It's just a collection of court case files. However, the cases within these files are not mine. Huh? They belong to the High Prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were. Then that means the thief must have also wanted the file for a specific reason, right? It would seem so. Only the pages related to that case from 10 years ago are missing. I wonder why anyone would care about such an old case. Okay. Yes, sir.
I guess we can ask him this.
About Miss Bird. No way she's the killer. Please don't tell me you buy into that accusation, sir. Rest assured, I think she's innocent. However, I need to ask her a few things regarding her security guard position. Well, if you're only asking, that's okay. Just stand next to her and then touch the talk button. Then you two can talk about whatever topic you pick. When you want to ask her about evidence, all you have to do is present it. After you choose what to show her, touch present again, and off you two go. I recommend showing different people different things. You'd be surprised by what they'd say. Thank you for the explanation, though I don't recall asking for one. Oh, just so you know, sir, you could show me evidence in the same way, too. I do believe it's time to get down to business and defeat the Huns. Ignored again.
Let's go talk to Miss Bird.
I was wondering if I may speak with you for a bit concerning this case.
I've always been a big fan of the courtroom, but this is like a dream! A dream where I'm being cross-examined by the Miles Edgeworth!
I can't let this chance pass me by. I must remember to ask her about the Master Key.
I had to!
I should jog her memory by showing my notes to her through the present button. Have you ever met the victim before?
Well, I've seen him a couple of times before when I had to go to Mr. Portsman's office. Mr. Faith was always playing basketball with Mr. Portsman, sir.
That sounds like fun! Just once, I'd have loved to play with them.
It sounds fun, but the only person ever taking a shot was Mr. Portsman. All Mr. Faith ever did was pass him the ball, sir.
On second thought, I don't think I'd have fit in all that well with them.
What?
Miss Maggie Bird, correct? I take it that you are an acquaintance of the detective? She was under my supervision back when she was still on the force, sir. One day she got caught up in a murder and things started going downhill, so she quit.
But I owe a lot to Detective Gumshoe for introducing me to my current employer. Or so I thought until a few hours ago. Right before I was about to clock out for the night.
You got caught up in this whirlwind of a case, correct?
Don't worry, my whole life has been nothing but a whirlwind of bad luck and failures. Since I was 6 months old when I fell from the 9th floor of my apartment building, I've been hit by all sorts of vehicles, gotten sick from all sorts of foods, failed at almost every test I've taken, experienced almost every kind of disaster, and now I even managed to be named a criminal just when I've become a security guard. That's the old one if it's green. The new one was beige like his old one. That's weird to say, but he originally had a beige one, and then he got a green one, and then I think at the end of Trials we saw that Maggie bought him a beige one again. Confusing.
That's a lot to go through in one lifetime.
I know! And just when I thought I'd finally found my happiness, I wind up getting you and Detective Gumshoe involved in my bad luck.
You don't need to worry about me, Miss Bird. Nor do you need to worry about yourself. I'll solve this case and prove your innocence. All I ask in return is for your cooperation.
She sure did. Yes, sir, Mr. Edgeworth. You can count on me. I'll do all I can to help. We should put her in a protective bubble, I think. So let's present some stuff to her right now. Oh, nope. I did that wrong. Talk again. Present.
So when did you discover that the Master Key was missing?
By the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 a.m., sir. And I noticed it was back at around 2:30 a.m. It was just sitting there on the ledge where the security room's reception window is. But I'm sure that in between those 2 times, it was not just gone, but stolen, sir.
Why is such an important key stored in such an insecure place?
It's not like that, sir. We always keep the key further inside the room, away from the window.
Always, you say? Except for this time, correct?
Well, I admit that was a bit careless, but I had my reasons. I left it out because I was sort of using it at the time. It was after I had used it that I left it sitting out on the ledge.
She used the Master Key? What did you mean by you used the Master Key?
Oh, I had to use it to open the door for the prosecutor who had forgotten his key. She still does that. I mean, it's my job as a security guard, right? Oh my gosh, is Kaden around? Ah!
What is it?
That's right! I just remembered! The prosecutor who forgot his key! It was Mr. Portsman, sir!
What? Please, tell me more, Miss Bird, quickly!
It was around 12 a.m. Mr. Portsman had forgotten his office key, so he came down to security, sir.
And that's when you loaned the Master Key to him?
No way! It's against regulations to loan the Master Key out to anyone. I walked with Mr. Portsman to his office and opened the door for him personally, sir. Could this be a case of, you know, Danganronpa,
I see. And then? What happened after that?
Well, he called for me to come close up his office as he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30 a.m., I think.
So in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice tonight.
This key was used to unlock and lock Portsman's office postman at 12 a.m. and 1:30.
Talk about suspicious. I doubt you can say that you've never left your keys at home, Detective. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portsman's door.
Let's go. Basketball.
I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny.
Did you see Winston Payne, by the way? Portsman is hard to say sometimes. Definitely should. Some of the investigating in Danganronpa and some of the investigating in Ace Attorney can help you with either game.
The door's locked tight. I bet the old credit card trick wouldn't work here, huh, Mr. Edward? This is the office of a high prosecutor, Detective. These doors would be pretty ineffective if the average cat burglar could get through them. Aha! So I guess only a great cat burglar could get in. That must be who our culprit is. Might I advise you to return that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you bought it from?
Oops. I know I read this already, so hold on a second. It would be the new one, but he looks like he's wearing green, no? He's wearing a green jacket. She gave him a beige one. Winston Payne. This piece of shit. Was I supposed to click on something else?
A minimalist yet classy door made of top-quality wood. It's kind of majestic, too. Fits in really well with the ambience of the prosecutor's offices. Even Mr. Portsman seems dignified just because he works behind one of these. Nonsense. A man doesn't become more or less dignified because of where he works.
It pains me to see him.
Well, he still seems more dignified than Mr. Payne. Mr. Payne.
Wouldn't be the first case without good old Payne, it's true. They had to sneak him in somehow.
Mr. Payne. I suppose custodial work can also be dignified.
Ooh. But, I'm at the right door. I'm trying to figure out... Did I miss anything? Let me see what I have. Hang on. Oh, no wonder. Okay. I haven't done any logic stuff in a while. Master key was stolen. Used master key. There we go. Sometimes I get too ahead of myself.
Miss Bird, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your story.
What? No way, pal! I mean, sir!
You said that you locked up Mr. Portsman's office at around 1:30 a.m., correct? However, the master key had already been stolen at that time.
Wow, nothing gets by you, Mr. Edgeworth. You saw that contradiction like a pro. I had totally forgot all about that, but thanks to you, I remember it now. You're right. It was around that very time that I realized the master key was missing.
And?
Well, I'm a security guard, sir. It was really cute. I couldn't just admit to losing the master key, could I? So I pretended to lock up his room, sir.
You pretended?
Yeah, I used my house key and made it look like I was locking up, sir. So in
actuality, you never did relock the door then.
Well, I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. Come to think of it, I guess the door still hasn't been locked properly. Here we go. This is what I wanted. Examine this door. Now we're going... Oops, no! I didn't mean to deduce that! No, it's not! Shut up! This!
Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold?
Sometimes Edgeworth gets in touch with his feminine side.
There's a contradiction here between reality and the evidence. If what Miss Bird has said is true, then why is this door locked tight? Huh? You know, you're right! Miss Bird, are you sure you didn't relock this door?
I am certain of it, sir. And I don't think Mr. Portsman noticed it himself that I hadn't.
Which means... What, sir? That either means that he actually does have the key to his office, or that the door Miss Bird opened wasn't this one at all, but a completely different one. She opened a different door? But how can you prove that? There's an easy way to find out. All we need to do is... we need to examine these. Your butt. Examine your butt.
Prints on the doorknob.
The prints on the doorknob will tell us everything. Hey, you! Yeah, you, pal! Do us a favor and see what you can lift from this, okay? So, what'd you find out? There's no need for such belligerent nostril-flaring, Detective. Sir, I have found only Mr. Portsman's and Mr. Faith's prints on this doorknob. So only 2 people's prints were found on this, huh? That's pretty decisive. Huh? I'm lost, sir! Thinking logically, a certain other person's prints should be on this knob as well. Now then, whose prints should also be on this doorknob?
Maggie's, of course.
Take that!
Examine Gumshoe's butt. Gum butt.
Don't you find it odd that the prints of this person... Yup. Yeah. Yup. Don't you find it odd that the prints of the person who unlocked this door are absent?
Oh, okay. Sweet. So I guess I'll find out later.
You mean... Yes, the door that Miss Bird opened could not have been this one, but a different one. Why aren't my prints on the door?
Imagine.
What have we here? I won't rest until I've inspected every I'm not gonna read that every frickin' time, Edgeworth. Come on.
There's the biscuit bowl. There's a piece of paper you can barely see.
Yup. What is this? Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it.
I would hope so, Gumshoe. I brought the 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone, but it looks like you're out. Guess I'll catch up to you later, buddy.
Looks like a note from the victim. Yeah, and it's for Mr. Portsman. Basketball.
Indeed. Okay, whoa, hey, whoa, hey.
What's this? What are you looking at, sir? Oh, hey, how about a game? That's okay, Detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off. Hey, you're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk. The poisoning of this hoop. The positioning of this hoop is definitely unnatural. I'd better take note of this.
Poisoning. Okay, let's go examine our door now.
Oh, nope, not reading it again.
Damn it.
The hoop was poisoned! I don't see any signs of forced entry. And according to the guard, no signs that the lock was picked either, sir.
Bob Thump Capoa. What? It's okay, Flames. I'm here for you.
Meaning that the door really was opened with a key. Did you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from the doorknob? Apparently, the doorknob's clean as a whistle. Wiped, they think. Whoever the thief is, they did a good job of not leaving any clues behind.
Nice, we did it.
Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely. Huh? How so, sir? In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case.
Oh, I read it as Doobob and not Doorbob. You know who the killer is? Wow, Mr. Edgeworth.
As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsman.
What? Mr. Portsman?
I knew it! That's exactly what my logic senses were telling me, too! I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir!
Doorbob. Doobob. Not that, that says Dobub. What?
That is anything but logical. Lady and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it's time to knock on truth's door.
Edward, stop. Being a cheeseball. Back at it again.
Mr. Portsman, I finished processing the bloody letters, sir. Alright, let me take a gander at it. Pass it here.
Oh my god, are these serious?
Okay, looking good. You there, take good care of this. Whoa! Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe. End of the line for you. Oops, nope, it's Gumshoe. End of the line for you, Portsman. We've got you now. Call off your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. Is this some kind of joke? It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jacques Portsman, that you are the guilty party in this case. You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can stay, if you promise to stay out of our way. You intend to hide your crime until under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job? I can see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl. Who'd have ever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. But there was always this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. It really teaches me that I've got to stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know? Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for now is explaining yourself. Although that, too, will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up. Well, aren't we full of ourselves, even though you have yet to prove anything?
Let's do this.
I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here. Sorry, but we are not finished yet. Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusations on something? I'll show you what I'm basing my accusation on, with evidence. Allow me to cut through those words.
That's what that reminded me of.
Hold it!
Unfortunately, I believe I've already shown how earlier. Your speculation means nothing, as I still insist that I could not gain access to your room. What should I do now? Should I raise an objection? You claim to have had no way to open my door. However, is that really the honest truth? Alright, I'll humor you. Go ahead, shoot! Very well, then. I propose that you use this to open my door.
Take that!
I believe you were able to open my office door, with the master key, no less.
Objection!
Wait, hold on for a sec. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely, you were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct. That's right, you used your finger to direct this person to open my door with this key.
Take that!
You had asked Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes? Yeah. I kinda forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know. But the room you had Miss Bird open at the time was not your own, was it?
What?
You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we?
I'm certain that it was Mr. Portsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door, sir.
See? Miss Bird backs up my story, not blocks up. What? Yet, what if you had misled shit? I skipped it accidentally. And how do you suppose I did that? By switching the number plates on our doors, for example.
That's right! They do slide out pretty easily.
Furthermore, you then used one other thing to give a very strong impression. That the door she was opening was yours and not, in fact, mine. What was it that Mr. Portsman used to make Miss Bird think that it was his room? His room. Read that weird.
Take that!
What? The basketball hoop, sir?
It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building. Which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor.
Wah! That's very true, sir, because there was a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's.
There are signs that the hoop has been moved. To sit it in front of my office, to be sure. I see. So that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip. But I think your conjecture is a little off the racetrack.
Is that so?
Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me. So he intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he? I'm as pure and innocent as my jacket. And Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears.
My jacket's not dirty, I'll have you know. I just washed it yesterday.
Please calm down, for I intend to show you who is the one truly covered in slime here.
Oh, it's okay, Zach. I'll see you later. Have a good day at work. Oh, gotta stretch. Let's do this. We already know.
You were in your room all day?
Thanks, Aki.
Objection!
You weren't in your room. In your office.
That was a lie. What are you talking about? How is that a lie? This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman. A note? It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, "But you're out." You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you and what were you doing? Ah! Shall I explain it in full detail for you? You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Bird open for you.
Objection!
That's just nonsense. You have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me. Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence. No way! This is proof positive that you had Miss Bird open the door for you. It's my attorney's badge.
Take that!
I had your door dusted for prints. My door? What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time. You're right, I didn't find anything, and definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints. Her prints? What do they have to do with anything? Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her prints would naturally be on the doorknob she touched. Ah! Further, all of the prints on my office door's knob have been wiped clean. I can only assume it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole. Yeah, I read it right. We know you stole into my all the way home. We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me. And Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office. Just what's so funny, pal? Well, that look of stiff seriousness on the face of this office's finest prosecutor as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me is simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world. What?
Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all, and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already.
And as I said earlier, it's all so circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that doorknob down as well.
Huh?
I'm a little obsessive-compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched, which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own prints would be on there.
Thanks.
You made that up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse.
Now that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size.
But you can't prove that, can you?
Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir.
Portsman makes a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I only realized that I had one just now as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had told you sooner. If memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had an unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi. Do you really think it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself.
Come see for yourself and get in touch with our products.
Detective Gumshoe. Sir, yes, sir! I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down in Criminal Affairs said they saw him at around 2 a.m. You see? All of the evidence points to him being the culprit, so there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere.
Juness lady, please.
Hold it!
You're correct. It was around 2 a.m. Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time. I remember checking my watch then, and make no mistake, it was 2. Ooh, giving testimony like a pro! Okay, so you came back to your office at 2.
Hold it!
It is as you say, however. Yes, however, you are the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw? It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see.
Objection!
Oh, come now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here. Oh well, doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit.
Hold it!
So you paid the Criminal Affairs Department a visit? Yep, right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct.
Hold it!
Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony. And it was just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said that they saw you at around that time. See? I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve. Impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face? Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we've reached the end of the line, and it's time to get off this crazy train. You there! Sir! Please escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle. Maggie!
Detective Gumshoe!
Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. If I only had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi?
The intruder I met could not have been Portsman. Then who could it have been?
I need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic.
Here we go. So, Mr. Portsman's alibi. Another handgun.
There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life. And one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person, which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight.
Maybe the victim and his killer weren't the only visitors to my office tonight. Another visitor, files in disarray.
Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight, that would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were upended twice. We know that the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun and then killed him with it, and once again after the murder by our second culprit. Who was the owner of the second gun? If we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back.
Objection!
Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great! So you finally come to your senses.
Mr. Edgeworth!
Sir, what are you saying? This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief. A thief? But, sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts?
Slow text is slow.
Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight. What do you mean, 2? It explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office. Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know? If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me. Which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time. So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? But why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed sounds coming from my office would be my guess.
Oh, because you were supposed to be away, right?
And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out. Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do.
But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there.
Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then... he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left the fake dying message behind. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated. There was another? Visitor, sir? Yes, and this other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so... they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize. The stolen zero file, right, sir? Read that totally weird word. Correct, only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter. So the shelves getting messed up twice and the 2 bullets. It was all because 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times. Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief and was not, in fact, Mr. Faith's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant. Because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit.
Objection!
What do you mean?
What's so funny, pal? Absolutely splendid! Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth, after all. But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Supposing if, and that's a big if, your theory is right, it would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant.
Oh, the chat's not showing? Oh, it's not on for this one. It's on for, sorry, for regular games, but it's not on in this setup, sorry. It'll be back when I play console games. I just didn't set it up for Ace Attorney. Sorry. It would indeed... No, I read that already.
But there's still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Your supposition that I was the first visitor. Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point.
Don't say that, sir.
I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. If the person you met really was just a plain old thief.
Whoa, it's Avenue. Hey, Avenue. Long time no see.
Then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct.
He's still going.
That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for the thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at Criminal Affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left. So you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course! Now isn't the time to be wasting time on dead-end discussions. I don't think it's at all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it. I also need a drink of water, damn it. Sorry about that. Had to... Food.
Leading. No leading for you.
Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith? Haha, that's because he said he was tired and was going to take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits. And what are the evidence he brought? They were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items, a gun and a pendant. Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks.
Objection!
Only 2 pieces? I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail. Excuse me? You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me. What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you. Well, here's a piece I think you should read. Carefully.
Ah! It says that Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces!
Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman. I can't believe... to get tripped up by simple arithmetic! Where is the missing piece of evidence? It's... You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe! You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. Don't come any closer, I'm warning you! This is all part of the investigation, pal, so don't even think about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? He had this on him, sir. Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide. But why would he hide something like that? There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber. Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. For the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin.
Whoa!
Oh! That's blood, isn't it? Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh. You mean this might be Detective Faith's blood? I hope it's not Chris's blood. No! No, you've got it all wrong! No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this video.
Yeah! It's totally suspicious!
Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him?
On his persona. He had it on his persona.
You know very well there's no way to prove that. Not even if Not even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints I could read.
What even is that noise?
If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith. No! Impossible!
There you go. Bye-bye.
Mr. Portsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir. Very good. And the results we got back from the lab tests on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there.
Yodeling intensifies.
And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir.
It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in a murder in my office. Please accept my apologies.
Oh, it was nothing, really, compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. If it had been a hold-up or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person.
Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail. You know something, sir? That Mr. Portsman really was one corrupt prosecutor. And why would you say he was corrupt? Well, I heard that there were a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir. I need a burp, sir. Alright. Forged evidence, huh? And they say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons.
Oh, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession.
We never did get around to asking what his reason for breaking into my office was. Yeah, whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up.
Hot dog? What are you, Mickey Mouse? Hot dog!
Although we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something. This is just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes. Oh? Well, well. With Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly lends credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this. Huh? Then Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy? I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence.
Take that!
The person who stole this file, the other villain of that night. Yeah, I wonder who it was. And what happened to the stolen pages? I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint?
Oh, bye, Zach!
Mr. Edgeworth, sir? Yes? I came across this while I was processing your file earlier, sir. This card. What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there? It's not just any bird. It's the mark of the raven, a three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, detective. Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's talking about. Yes, it is the mark of the great thief, Yatagarasu.
That's a persona. See? I did it. I figured it out.
Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yatagarasu is noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarasu appears and vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence and always with perfection. Once the target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing.
Kim's persona. Kim Possible!
Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card, although it has been a while since the Yatagarasu's last appearance. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, look, something's written on the back. What? Let me see. It's the location of where the thief put the stolen files. So the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu? Yatagarasu. Organization. How many times do I have to say Yatagarasu? Quite a few key words are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief, Yatagarasu. You're doing this on purpose now. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming. For they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago. Long pauses in text.
The end! Da 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 dee 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 dee. Brand new episode's been added.